Hello and welcome back to the League of Legends Pro Series here in summer of 2018. It is a scorcher here in Shanghai, but we are over in Hangzhou. At least we're tuning into it. My name is Paul. This is Froskurin. How are you feeling, Frosk?
I'm pretty good.
Cool. Yeah, we're about to come in here for our second game with LGD, of course, because we are in Hangzhou versus TOP. We're going all the way. That's the Chinese coming out right there, all the way. And there's also Dominic Rome because he says all the time. But yeah, we're coming up with our third and final game here, and we're going to see if we can get over 100 kills, because we're pretty close.
It's also what Clement was mentioning on the analyst desk that, you know, whoever does win here, it's already massive improvement from the spring split to the summer split. So there are actual evolutions that are being made between LGD and TOP for this series. So it's been a very rough couple of splits to be fans of both these teams. They have good players. There is promise here, but it's just a matter of, you know, getting them over this hump. And so someone is going to make the hurdle today, and it might as well be either TOP or LGD. I honestly have no idea who's going to come away with it.
Hopefully we get over the hurdle, get into this game, because we are getting to see a lot of those individual talents come out, or the individual mechanics, because you're talking about this, but we see a lot of fights, like a lot of fights in these games, because no one's really a winner after the fights for a long time until the objectives allow them to finish, which means that we actually get to see them do it over and over and over again. If you're looking for on-stage experience to make these compositions work, or like to figure out how these champions work, like we just saw the Nocturne comp coming in there with the talent to assassinate the backline. I mean, he did that like literally 74 times, you know, in one game. So they know exactly how it works and how to deal with the composition. So it's actually nice that we are getting longer games and more action for the players to actually get more experience in these situations.
It's also about mental fortitude. You know, ultimately, we see this out of teams like BLG and even RNG now at the international stage, that when you do have your back against the wall, when everything is on fire, when you have to, you know, dig deep and find that miracle team fight, well, TOP and LGD have so much of that experience now because these games are getting drawn out. They're very back and forth. It's about capitalizing on that moment, you know, forgetting the previous 10 minutes and just having like a hard reset and not letting yourself get tilted, not letting your emotions overcome you, especially for very young players and fairly young teams in reference to TOP.
Oh, for sure. I mean, what were the analysts talking about the other day, talking about is Invictus Gaming and FPX.
Yep.
How it was like over 11 years experience on Invictus Gaming and like 15 years of experience on FPX, which is insane, by the way, if you think about it, because you think of FPX as like a new organization within the LPL, and then the players have so much experience on the stage. So yeah, for sure, when you're looking at some of these players, I mean, excluding the likes of like a PYL, for example, who's been around the block, or even a Goon, yeah, for a long time, you know, these players and teams do have that experience, or in some places don't. Well, we get to see the players walking to stage once again. Remember, in his first game of the set, we did actually see Regank come in, a new player for LGD. Used to be called Gangster, coming in from Korea, and specifically Griffin. Now, I feel like, you know, just a few people probably know who Griffin are over in the LCK. I actually really liked his early performance, but then Amy got subbed in and will be here for our third game in Hangzhou.
But it's this guy on your screen who is really the savior for LGD, as well as Y4 alongside him. So the two, I don't want to call them Bash brothers, but Jinu and Y4 trying to be the saviors of LGD, and then probably an assist from Yuki coming in, whereas Amy and PYL, you know, you have your ups, you have your downs.
Mate,
but
your sign's still upside down for an entire series and a half. Someone tell him, please.
He just sets it down on his lap, and then he just picks it up the same way.
I guess he never looks at it either.
Whereas on the other side for TOP, the saviors have been XX and Goon. I feel like the mid-jungle synergy has been pretty on point. They've been controlling a lot of that pivot point in the map. Even their bottom lanes have done well. I understand what Clement was saying with like the nature of the composition that they drafted in game number 2, that if you try to come into it, which you saw so many dive options from LGD that it can be quite punishing, but ultimately, TOP aren't a good enough team to close out on any lead that they build in a lane phase, so I think that you have to have a late game insurance policy if you're LGD or TOP. You must have something that, okay, if we mess this up, if it gets stalled out, at least we've got X.
Exactly, and unfortunately in that last game, they just had no access to percent damage at all, which meant that Mundo just didn't die. Could not die, was incapable of dying in that game.
And we've seen Mundo been running away globally. I believe in the NALCS just the other day, he was undefeated, so we continue to see him prioritized in the LPL, although not as highly as some of the other regions, especially for how devastating he can be. But maybe that's just the fact that we have so many players who just believe that they're better and think that they have, you know, counter matchups or can execute correctly on the counter matchup even without jungle pressure. So maybe just a bit of ego coming from the LPL to overlook something as powerful as Mundo.
Sure. Yeah. At the same time, I mean, like, again, we talked about the Darius matchup. It's nice where for the mid game and late mid game when you have a Darius who's farmed up for the team fights. But if you go past that, then Mundo would just run away with the game, literally hitting sadism and just running around in circles. So again, percent damage, do a doozy, put a Vayne up top lane, or the ultimate hard counter, ban him.
So it feels like we have kind of 3 champions that we're going to be paying attention to in this draft phase. It's going to be Darius, it's going to be Mundo, and it's going to be Swain. Now, Swain has been the priority pick from both teams when they've been on blue side. Massive numbers, massive damage. It feels much more like a denial away from LGD than really an empowering of TOP, just because Y4, or excuse me, reverse that. Y4 wants to deny it, because he's an Orianna player as opposed to a Swain player.
Exactly, and his Orianna we actually got to see in this series was actually really strong. So it would be nice to see it again. That back has an entire chair to itself. Fantastic. What's that sign say at the back? It's a unicorn or something?
Yep. LGD make hot sauce, so I'm not sure.
Yes, they do. I still haven't tried that hot sauce brand. Someone's told me it was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's supposedly really good.
Got some kick to it. I will say that my palate is definitely not designed for the Chinese ecosystem. There's a lot of spicy food. Sichuan, of course.
I love spicy food.
Does future Frostgearin the day after enjoy spicy food?
Present Frostgearin is what we're living in right now.
All right, we are getting into Champion Select, 3rd time in this series. Let's see what the teams have for us. Are we going to find ourselves a ban?
There's Swain.
Swain. Yes, the answer is yes. Yes. TOP are going to ban away the Nocturne and the Talon. They want no part of that combo. They're going to ban both it away. Plus a Time Catch on the opposite side. Yeah, Talia's open. Aatrox, Zoe, and Swain was banned away. And TOP, what's it going to be?
It should be the Talia. Again, Zoe, Swain, Aatrox, Talia, these are usually kind of the staple red side bans. And when one of them slips through, it's almost immediately a priority pick. And with the Nocturne ban, then there's not a jungler that can really follow up on the mobility that Talia offers if she slides into XX's hands. So what do LGD go for?
Great question. Let's see what it's going to be. There's still a lot of good options and picks available for them. Camille is one of them. Can go into the jungle top lane. Anywhere, really. The world is your oyster. Go on. Do it. I haven't seen Heimerdinger for a while in the LPL.
We're not really a big Heimer region. I think we've had 2 of them.
With no NA.
I think that means that we are at NA.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, Morgana will be the pickup. Again, the perfect shade of black. It is very good with many different matchups in the bottom lane.
And it just seems that is what PYL is comfortable with. Now again, the thing that Morgana really offers is the utility of the Black Shield, especially in tandem with Camille, her access then to the back line through Hextech Ultimatum, and then having the Black Shield on top of that makes her quite potent there. Yep. But it's also her wave clear with Tormented Soil, as well as the pick potential with the Dark Binding. And something that PYL has been good at is hiding those Dark Bindings through terrain when he does unlock himself to roam. So I think it's a good pick for him. We haven't seen the cleanest Morgana play, but frankly, we haven't seen the cleanest play from PYL in a very long time.
That's fair. On the opposite side, we will find ourselves yet another Kled, this time very early on into the rotation. Not going to be a last pickup like we saw earlier on in this series, and just in general. And we see Kled picked up earlier or later on into the compositions. It will be a Vladimir, however, also locked in for TOP. So we're getting very close and personal.
I still feel that this is going to be the Vladimir for the Chocho. Orianna, Morgana, you'd have so much wave clear that you have to say that TOP have sacked the bottom side of their map, so they must have a very strong pick, or at least try to sculpt a winning matchup for the top side, and it should be Kled in the mid lane. And I expect that already from the first 3 picks that TOP want to play between their mid lane and their top lane, because bot lane's just going to be, you know, you're on your own. Hopefully we get a leverage advantage in top side, we can transition that into bottom, but you're probably going to get pushed in.
Yeah, hopefully that is the goal really for TOP. On the opposite side though, LGD will pick up the Orianna. I love it. Absolutely love it. This is the 5th time. Do not be deceived by the graphic. It is 5th time we've seen Orianna go over to Y4.
And what's cool here is the fact that LGD is still really respecting the fact that there are so many flex picks and starting to take away some of these dueling junglers. So making sure that if TOP are going to sack the bottom side of their map and maybe they pull a switcheroo, they try to slot Talia and Vladimir down there instead to get some of that push power back, at least early on, that they don't have access to a kill-oriented jungler to try to set up any sort of early game plays.
It's a possibility for certain. Trundle and Fiddlesticks will find themselves on the bench for this one from LGD. And TOP will take away the Mundo, the ultimate hard counter. Just ban it. Like to see it. Jinu was an absolute monster in that last game. Unkillable. And certainly did not die. I'll also be yet another ban towards Jinu. Could also be Yuki, but primarily Jinu. It's his champion. Fiora.
Of course, you're referring to the fact that we just saw Fiora in the mid lane from Zatai in RNG versus Edward Gaming just yesterday. If you guys haven't caught the VOD, it was our match of the week, so be sure to go back and tune back in. It was an excellent series that went the distance.
Yes, it was. We got to see some very interesting things from RNG with their roster. And also Zatai, I mean, it makes perfect... Oh, yes! That's what I'm talking about. I mean, also to finish up this Zatai point, you know, he's a top lane, he's a mid laner, he's an everyman's man. He'll do anything, which means he can bring top lane picks into the mid lane. Such diversity, wow. And at the end of the day, it will be an Aurelia going for LGD. Now, it's been a while since I've casted some Aurelia. I mean, teams are either moving away from it or just not picking it at all. Aurelia just has a lot of struggle matchups into a lot of different champions nowadays. People just kind of figured the pick out, but sometimes it just calls from the Aurelia game. It's just an Aurelia type of day, and here we are.
This is interesting, though. So TOP, they see the Orianna, they see the Morgana, they've got a horde of flex picks, and they decide to act on them. It's not going to be a Kled in the mid lane, it's going to be that Vladimir, and they grab the Xayah and Rakan. Now, if we were in the LCK, you might say that this looks like the beginning of a funnel composition, which theoretically it could still be, but I feel like this is going to be standard lanes. We'll keep our eye on it, though, because some weird summoner spells are being picked.
Yeah. We'll see how it turns out in the end. We'll give it a hot second for TOP to move it all around.
Camille top.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Sejuani came in as final pick for the jungle. Now, just looking at matchups right here, because if you wanted to, Kled going into the mid lane versus Aurelia is a very good matchup for Kled. And similarly, in the top lane, going into Camille, typically Kled does fall against bruises and tanks.
So TOP's composition, if we want to talk about it in a greater context, we need to see exactly where those lanes are going to line up and what the lane assignments are. So I'm just going to put a pin in that one, and as soon as we get to game, we're going to start unpacking it again. But looking to LGD's composition, it's very stock standard, but it's been a while since we've seen one of these comps. Now, with the Aurelia and with the Sejuani, your ability to contest in the river is almost unrivaled, especially off of first back for Aurelia if she chooses to go to the Sheen route versus the Phage route, which, as you're saying, that matchup in the mid lane then depends. Is she going to get the good matchup? Is Kled going to try to follow her? Or is she going to get the bad matchup? So keeping track of that, it's then you've got a pushing bot lane of the Morgana Orianna, you have early access into river and great skirmish control between Aurelia and Sejuani, and it's the exact same play that LGD have been running this entire series. Unlock mid lane, rotate bottom lane, dive the tower, break it early, try to snowball into mid game.
And the answer really isn't there as much this game for TOP, because before, remember, it was just like, you know, unlock mid, but hey, there's a Galio. Galio's going to push you in, prevent you from leaving in the first place, or just follow you, so it's just constantly going to be a bad time for you. But this time, it's Vladimir. Well, maybe. We'll see when we get into game, but because if you want the Kled to go into the mid lane to try and either match the push coming in from Aurelia, then you have a bad matchup, but you can also follow at the same time and maybe just play passive using Bear Trap on the rope and trying to bridge that over to your Tiamat, but it's just kind of a lose-lose situation here. So LGD, they have the high ground.
But they also have a lot of pressure on them. Yes, they're sitting in their home arena in Hangzhou, but it has been so long for LGD. They are not just hungry, they are starved for any sort of recognition. 1-6, I believe, right now.
Yes,
and looking for their second win. So they've made it this far. They brought it to game 3. They are so close, but can they finish it?
Can they close? The eternal question for many of our teams in the LPL mid and bottom of the table. Here we go, onto Drift one more time, our last time tonight in Hangzhou. So bring a home crowd, let's make it happen.
There are many things you could say about LGD, but you cannot question the fan support. It has been unwavering and consistent.
They're still going. Yeah, for certain. And as you said before, I think it was series game 1 in this series. This is like they've been through some real rough times. If you're an LGD fan, and I feel like you, Frost, know better than anybody how rough of a time it is to be an LGD fan.
A wig for this team.
Yeah.
There was a cocktail dress that went with it, but
that's true.
Thankfully, that never saw air.
Yeah. That was you actually looked great in that. That was the worst, because it was just like we made this bet and we're like, damn, Frost looks good in it. Okay.
Had to wear a dress and a wig if LGD made playoffs. They did not.
They did. Oh, hello! All of LGD just pop over the wall. It's a 3 versus 3 rumble in the jungle. And Cat is on the front lines as he always wants to be. Amy flashes over the wall once again. And Y4 on the retreat, but he is split from the team for certain. Command attack comes out, but he's still being chased down by Chocho. Walking into the bush clutch vision.
Flash.
He absolutely is. And we'll walk out of there.
You know, it's not a great start, but holds Flash, probably the best case scenario there for LGD, but a full-on LCK start, just real man mode, multiple people going over the wall, and Amy now put on the back foot. He's lost a lot of tempo advantage here, only level 1, trying to grab hold of the Scuttle Crab so he can give some power back to Jinnu, but this is all about XX, especially on the Taliyah, her ability to weave and bob through this jungle so quickly.
I mean, that's a major thing. The tempo is in his court, which will happen anyways, but now he's just springboarded.
He's racing towards blue buff. He knows.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, where else is Amy gonna be?
The issue is that Vladimir is getting shoved in, so Amy at least has the presence that Yuki could look to rotate at the same time. Yeah,
you can actually see that he's trending towards the top side of lane, or Goong, and that will just be a 1 versus 1, I should say. I was looking at the levels there, 2 on 2. And XX has done enough to alpha out the enemy jungler. So this is just a fantastic start coming in for XX.
Just so devastating for Amy. There's not much that he can do. Just relegated back into his own jungle. Did manage to get the Scuttle Crab, so there is that good thing. And speaking of good, that's probably the best play that I've seen from PYL. He never times that correctly.
I know.
Good work.
Great timing on that Black Shield. Can walk up, put down the pressure, allow Y4 to do his thing, and we see Chocho and Cat in the bottom lane. Also to go back on lane assignments, because we were like, question marks on where things are going to go. Vladimir into the mid lane, which means a weak matchup into the Aurelia, and then top lane, Lies will be playing into Jinnu. Now, the wave has pretty much resolved from what I can see, and it's already a 2-wave advantage to the Camille.
Which means kind of good things for Amy. Yeah, he's still very far behind in terms of his jungle tempo, but because his top lane and his mid lane should be winning, or at least have the push advantage, it at least offers security for the Sejuani right now. So also the fact that because he is a Sejuani, he's fine to kind of sit back a little bit and just scale up. But now it's a question of what XX does with these extra time on the map and this advantage that has been given to him.
Here's the one that ganks into the bottom lane and eats a binding. And that was the end of that chapter. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Jinnu demounting the Scar. He finds that pocket pistol not onto Jinnu, so now he's in a bad way. You definitely need that pocket pistol so that you can get Skull back. Unfortunate, so he'll go back to base right here, and Jinnu will get the push off. He does have teleport though, so should be okay. Yuki charging up the old Ionian further. Messed up the Q. Still be able to get the auto attacks down, but yeah, nice stun. Duet on to XX, but he's jumping away and barely escapes from the flick. Now he'll go back to base.
Very close there. Yuki recognizing that he was in a bit of a bad way, as you like to say. Forced to lose the flash, doesn't have TP, has the ignite, so it will be a long walk back to the mid lane. And Goong now in a much better position for what should be a pretty rough matchup. And with the health crystal picked up, it looks like it's going to be the Phage.
Well, there was no one to blame for that other than Yuki. He messed up his Q onto a minion, doesn't get the reset, 9-second cooldown on that one at the early levels.
But the reality is that because of Aurelia's burst damage at level 6, even without the Sheen and going for the Phage, so having a bit of extra health so you can trade against the Vladimir, because he's just going to sit and try to sustain in the lane, she probably will still have kill pressure on him at level 6. So Goon still needs to be relatively careful in the lane, does have access to his flash though.
XX, hang on a minute. Someone in my jungle. Amy takes away the wolf there. XX will get the mini ones. Now he'll go back to base low on health, low on mana. And you're absolutely right. Aurelia always really has kill threat on Vladimir, though what Vladimir does have is when she jumps on his face, he goes into pool.
Top lane.
Pool is usually very nice. Tactical sweep.
They want to get the Scarl away, and then Amy's going to pop in, but can't quite get him.
Tactically punch him in the face. Yeah, halfway till 6, so it's kind of awkward. Amy level 3.
He's sitting up there for a long time. This is big investment.
He needs this to work. This is the flail and the flash out from Lies. I mean, it's successful in that sense, but Amy is very far behind in terms of experience.
And it's also the information that XX got. Now, he did just walk, instead of going to his Krugs and looking for a gank bottom, did go back up to his Gromp, so maybe some questionable pathing from XX there. I guess it's a matter of how hungry... I see why he did it. He went and pathed towards the top side as opposed to grabbing the more and free gold, because you have to think, if he goes Krugs and he sees that Sejuani is top side, he gets access into Sejuani's bot jungle, but because Lies was forced into an early TP, he's forced to come top to secure that this wave gets pushed in and try to punish this.
He jumps in, de-skulls him, goes right into the ultimatum, knocks away XX. Expertly played by Jinnu. The wave will be pushed into tower, but still, there's the mechanics.
Yep, so good read from TOP on the situation to try to get Lies back into the lane, or at least more comfortable, and great mechanical outplay from Jinu to absorb a lot of that pressure anyway.
Yeah. I love to see Jinu on carries. I mean, his Mundo plays great, but watching Jinu actually play carries is where it's at. I mean, we'll all remember the old Riven play that we saw back in last year, I think. Didn't he play in spring?
Yep.
Yep.
Fiora, Riven.
Yep.
Big carry player.
Yeah. Really enjoy watching that. Yuki as well. You know, Yuki is also meant to be a big carry player. And we get to see him on Aurelia, so we're actually seeing all of this out from LGD. So if there's a time to shine, Yuki on a carry, Jinu on a carry, Y4 on his Orianna. Now's the time.
3-man gank that has been expertly spotted out by a nice ward. Thank you, Observer.
Feels good, man. And now Yuki will back away in this mid lane, so there is a 3-man push happening on Cannon Minion. Duet? No.
Feels bad to miss a lot of that gold, and it feels like TOP again. They read pressure on the map really well. They just simply don't actually have the same star talent that LGD have. These two teams are kind of inverse problems of each other. Can you imagine if TOP were as talented individually as someone like Yuki and Jinu, and even Y4 to an extent?
Yeah. So they need to come together, fusion dance, and create the ultimate team, TOP LGD.
If we take our two bottom teams and we stack them together.
Beachy and LGD. TOP, remember, are not doing badly for themselves right now.
They're in the Western Conference.
3 and 4.
Yep.
That's true. Cross conference. Yuki jumping on towards Goong, follows up at the very end with a Defiant Dance. Interesting combo. And is low on mana, unfortunately. Blade Surge now doesn't refund mana, but it is just dirt cheap to use. Has like 20 mana or something, not a whole lot. So, still, when you're low on mana, it makes it very difficult. You have to go back to base for that one when you're out of corrupting potion stacks.
This matchup certainly has shifted, especially with the amount of attention that TOP have given it.
Yeah, because it's not a 1v1, it's a 1v3. So.
Which means that Amy's been pretty much isolated and allowed to get level 6. He should be getting it right quick, especially since he's on his red buff. And then once we have access to that ultimate, it's just now a question. Okay, I got kill pressure in the top lane with the Camille. I got kill pressure in the mid lane with the Aurelia. Who's it gonna be?
I don't know. Someone's gonna hit it, or someone's gonna bite it, I guess. Yep. The old ultimate coming out of Sejuani. Ooh. Caught the tail feathers there. Gonna force the ultimate off of the shockwave. I would be tilted after being hit by that one.
Showcasing why PYL was so hungry to play this pick at every
available opportunity.
And we asked who it was going to be. It looks like it's going to be Lies.
Yeah, I got to descale him first. So...
Good read by XX. Check out where Talia is.
Right behind with the wall in tow, with Flash as well. Bottom lane, wow, Chocho actually went back to base off of that.
So
PYL connect, oh, gonna force the cleanse as well. This is big from LGD, top side and bot side.
A lot of the pressure being forced over.
But here's the counter going out from XX. It's on the flip where he jumps away from. Well played by Jinu, but he's still dead underneath the tower. Amy in a 1 versus 2. But here comes Yuki in from the mid lane. Thinks about it. Thinks about running away. And indeed, that's what he's doing. Amy is going to fall right here. So it's a question of who's it going to go over to. Will be over to XX. And Yuki leaves his comrade to die.
And just crisp play from XX there on the wall. Meanwhile, Chocho is just him against the world, trying to dodge out between all of these spell flinging abilities, the shockwave as well as the dark binding.
Yeah, he's playing some bullet hell in the bottom lane, old Toho game.
So it felt like LGD approached the hurdle. They were going to overwhelm TOP, maybe break that top tier tower, at least get the kill. The bottom tier tower very close to falling, but good red zone defense here from TOP. Like you said, they wanted to descarl. Didn't quite descarl in time. Amy completely whiffs right between the wickets. Doesn't connect with that ultimate.
Yep.
And then a beautiful wall to lock in the Sejuani and get the 2-for-1 special.
Yeah, actually was a really nice wall off the backside of that. Just need to make sure, unlike game 1, that XX does not troll the heck out of his Kled. That is important. But in that one, it was very well played.
But now the attention from TOP must be down towards the bottom lane because, again, this tower will fall very soon. So suddenly XX immediately backs, goes to his bottom jungle, clears it out. He's now got access over to his Ocean Dragon, but he does need to be quite attentive to his Xayah and Rakan.
This will be the Dragon going over to TOP as well. Ooh, a little bit close since PYL was on his way over and was about to put down the Dark Puddle. It's all good. Dragon secured by a TOP. Would have been embarrassing had that happened, but still, it seems like all these plays have been set up by LGD so far for us, and currently I'm just looking at TOP with all the resources.
Yeah, and it's a good good counter ganks from XX, but it's the fact of the matter that they do have the Talia wall, and so as long as he's in the general area, his ability or his access over the map is just that much wider. And you can see, He knows I need to be bottom. They're going to try to force this. I bet we can catch them out of position, and we're just going to hold this. And here comes Amy. This should be a 3v3. Reminder that neither top lane has TP, which is why I actually really like this window for TOP to try to fight in.
Again, the wall could be devastating. It's about 10 seconds away. Sorry, 15 seconds away from coming back up.
There's
There
Rakan.
we go. Finds Y4, but great back shield once again by PYL. Here comes Amy for the counter gank. He finds a bird. The Cat's pushing forwards. Y4 is trapped in place and put down where he stands. PYL will flash away.
And Cat is just very impressive on the Rakan. Not only did he start and open that fight up with the quickness, but then also dodging the Sejuani ult by reactivating the shield and dashing to Xayah. So just very clean performance from Cat.
Well, Gung has also found himself in the bottom lane right here, but so is Yuki. So it's going to be a 3-on-4 right now.
But check out what's happening in the top side of the map. Although, hold on.
Vanguard's Edge follows on towards his opponent, but Cat, everyone's just staying inside the Blade Arena right
Here
now.
comes Y4.
As a kill over to PYL, and TOP are being routed currently. Amy's going to find a stun down onto the Vladimir, and Gung is going to die right here. Amy finds the kill. 2 kills for 1. Buy one, get one free to LGD.
And just not keeping track of the vital cooldowns. The fact that Orianna does have access to the TP, that it was going to be back up, and that Y4 just waits his death timer and then TP's right back in. So TOP, they had the initial part of the plan correct. We know that LG are going to try to force down the bot tower. We can set a trap, we can spring it, we can execute on it. But then they overreach, hand is caught in the cookie jar, and suddenly they're missing 4 fingers.
Yes, they are. And that was really, really nice. Let's see that one more time. So TOP, it looks great for them, but Yuki opens up with the Blade Arena.
Yeah, and again, it's the combination of also having that Morgana. We talked about the Camille, but also the Aurelia combo. You can see it right there in tandem. She just feels totally free to do that. Eventually falls in the end, but the damage has been done. TOP have overreached, overstayed. A brilliant TP ward for Y4 to get access in the bot lane. Or, excuse me, into the back line. And I just have to sing this guy's praises every single time. Y4, formerly of RNG, was the guy that was sitting behind Uzi. Abel then joins the roster. Now he's sitting behind Uzi and Abel. And he finally gets some time to shine for LG, and I really do think that he could be a possible answer for them back into mid-tier of LPL.
For sure. How many carries does it take to drag LGD up the standings? Well, if you keep throwing them at the team, eventually something's got to go. Something's got to move. It's working out. Yuki finds himself a blue buff in the mid lane and looks to rotate. However, Cat is on the hunt. He's roaming. Much like his bigger predecessors, or counterparts I should say, the Tiger. He is hunting. What's he going to find though?
He does need to be careful though. He should be aware that LG will be rotating up into this top side because of access to red buff. So just, I like the fact that he's scouting. I don't want him to go hunting.
Lions will get the tower and even ourselves up on the towers. TOP will regain control over the gold lead, in fact, after that. Even though there is a CS advantage in every single lane. Think about that one for a second. But XX is ahead of kills, ahead in farm. So a lot of this is in the jungle right now for TOP.
We'll see if this can maybe snowball into Rift Herald control, because the big hurdle is, of course, going to be this mid-tier tower, and then what both these teams do on an open map, because for majority of the series, it has been an absolute fiesta. Open map goes down, and we just all lose our minds.
Yep. Never engage TOP or LGD on an open field.
Oh, just stance battle. Here we go.
Oh, hello. Nice dodging from Yuki. But PYL, he's by himself. Unfortunate. He'll go into the perfect timing. Is there enough time? Blade Cage comes through. And Yuki into the back lines. He finds one, looking for another. He's onto XX. Following through with the pebbles. He's 1 versus 3 and will be taken out by Chocho. Meanwhile, the Vladimir goes down, and Jinu pushing forward. He's got the ultimate. The ultimatum was his. That will be a kill. And here comes Amy looking for the bear trap.
Oh,
Dodge away from that one. And Y4 put down by Chocho.
That was just frankly dirty from the Xayah. Also the fact that when the Camille was looking for the backline dive, he has access to the ultimate, and then immediately Jinu has to flash over the wall. He's like, too deep, I'm not getting the kill here. Repositions himself, then catches out Y4 and cleans up the back half of that fight. So huge credit to Chocho.
Fantastic stuff. Finds 2 on that one. In fact, the 2 kills that TOP did find in those in that fight. 2 for 2 in the end. But it started with the Aurelia and the Kled.
And I do want to give credit to PYL right now. This is, again, probably one of the best plays. Has the perfect timing, making sure that the flick's not there, and make sure that he gets his ultimate off before he hits the perfect timing. And at this point, you're like, LGD, they've done it. But here comes Chocho. Picks up the first kill. Now watch this. Jinu goes into the backline, perfectly timed from the Xayah. Goes up into the ultimate, sidesteps, catch the Orianna, boom. 1-2 punch, there's 2 kills, thank you.
Very, very nice stuff coming out from Cho. I think while that replay was running, though, I think Jinnu just died. Now, I don't have the CCTV footage, but I think he died in bot lane. So that has opened up a bit of an opportunity for TOP to not get anything. In fact, LGD are still on the aggression. Top side of the map is over to them, and they're actually clearing out wards around the Rift Herald right now.
Live fast, die young. That has been LGD's motto. They don't like to lose and bleed out slowly. It's unfortunate, though, that when they do get leads, they kind of pause with them. But when they're playing from behind, they just fast and furious. Don't know why.
Yeah, 100%. Live fast, die young. It's a good moniker to live under. Well, I mean, live, I guess, is the wrong word, but while you're doing it, it's fun to watch for certain. Bot tower is going to go down to Lies. That will be yet more gold in the pockets of TOP. And LGD again looking towards the dragon this area once again. There is no Morgana to trap them this time, though.
8-13, Xayah has completed the new, Storm Razors? Or the changed Storm Razors, I guess I should say.
That's the one.
So, pretty big power spike for her right now, and this is exactly why they have this confidence to step forward like this. Step 2.
Yep, Chocho's definitely doing that. Oh, the pin down on the front lines. He's just dead. Cat, where did you go? Yuki following through over the wall, finds another, looking to move on to XX, and he is just slicing and dicing on the front lines. Gets the heal out from Triumph, and Lies turns up to the party, but everyone is dead. He's with a Vladimir. You and me, buddy. You and me to the end of the night. But Gung is dead, and now I guess it's just me. Lies, 1 on 5. Did not win.
Ah, disaster! Cat had played this game so well, and a single team fight. That could be the nail in the coffin for TOP. That is a huge gold swing. LGD have been behind pretty much this entire game. They now have the lead, grab the Mountain Dragon, have a huge wave in mid lane, crack that mid lane tower, giving them so much control over the map. And it all started because poor little Rakan just eats a point-blank Sejuani ultimate. None of the hard CC goes down. Kled is then late to the fight, and the damage has already been done. Xayah quickly falls, and it's just, LG just tore them apart.
Pretty much. I mean, Yuki up there on the front lines with the rest of the team is just, yeah, he'll do that to you when we have these fights turning into like multiple mini skirmishes, and then Lies a little late to the party, and that was a 5-0 plus the Dragon going over to LGD, a massive swing to them. I say massive, but in terms of gold, it's about 2,000 gold. But it's more about what it means for the rest of the map.
These fights are just so hard to keep track of because you're dealing with two champions like Aurelia and Camille, and just how they're bouncing around and skirmishing and skating through everything. It is very reminiscent of the Talon Nocturne composition. And I can only imagine how hectic comms are for TOP trying to keep everything in order and everything clear as LG are just dashing through them.
Especially when they're engaged toward the guy with 0 damage in the last fight because he died before it pretty much started. So already your comms are in flux. And yeah, following it through is very difficult. Aurelia did almost 4,000 damage on that one. Yeah, that's quite some damage. And Y4 close behind as well, 2,500 on the Orianna. I feel like there's just too many carries that LGD have managed to get themselves. Cat tries to find a pick, and PYL again! Has he just been, what happened, a pool shark? Is that what it is? When you're just like...
I don't know, but someone took the belt off backstage because PYL has been with Amy for this game 3. He is in much better form right now.
It looks like an entirely different PYL. He hasn't even died this game.
He's 100% kill participation. This is the best that we've seen PYL in weeks.
Can we get the player gam over to him? Can we actually see if there's PYL on stage? 109. Morgana. He's playing out of his mind right now, and that's exactly what the team needs. You fix that one point, that one chink in the armor, and you're good.
Only as strong as your weakest link.
Yeah, really good stuff out from LGD, in fact. Again, putting pressure into the top lane. The duet is following through from Yuki. And Gung is aggressing on him, but is it a debate? I don't know. Is he letting me hit him? Again, I don't know. Amy was behind him, but this time he will know because there was a ward there, so well played by TOP. Got the initial control over Baron. They've taken down the crab. They've got wards left and right, but so do LGD. So, again, vision, a little bit messy from both sides. We'll see if we can clean it up as this game goes on, because it will be important around these objectives.
But you can feel that tension. You know, both teams can taste how important this matchup is for them. As the analyst desk was saying, you know, if TOP win here, they will have won more games in half the split than they did in their entirety of spring.
Yep.
And it's a very similar situation for LGD, and it just feels like a very different vibe or tempo from both these teams. It feels like everything has settled a little bit, that we're taking more more structured fights, that we're trying to acquire more information for them. Because look at Yuki, I mean, he had the feeling that, okay, you know, Talia's probably deep down here, they're looking for the wall, I'm just going to disengage, it's not worth it. and trying to be more coordinated about when they decide to overextend or apply pressure on the map.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately the thing is that LGD is so close to success. They're so close for all of it to click, but they just need to get there. They just need to get over the line. And right now, I'm watching LGD and I'm seeing PYL play really well, 109.
And that's really just been kind of the last thing that they needed,
Exactly.
the cherry on top.
I mean, look at them right now. This looks great.
You got Jinnu, you've got Yuki, Y4, big fan.
Yeah. At the same time, they've all gotten, like, you know, comfort picks for themselves, but that, regardless, they have big enough champion pools to make this work again and again. So, I don't know what it is. I mean, I know what it is, but I just want PYL to be able to do this every single game and continue it through the rest of the game. Because, to be fair, we're 22 minutes in. This is definitely the mid-game, and we're most likely going to have something like, you know, a 40, maybe even a 50-minute game from here on out between these two teams. So, finish strong. We're praising you now, LGD, but start strong, finish strong.
We're cresting over the point where the first and second items have been completed, and why this is important is because it's going to fundamentally change how we play the map. So right now, LGD, what's cool about their composition is that if they want to, they can deathball. They can play a full 5v5, whereas TOP do not have that same flexibility. They really are only strong in the 5v5. It's hard for them to play the same 1-3-1 or 1-4, not just because of their dueling options, but because of their lack of mobility. So you can see that Cat's trying to set up here for this, but he needs to play it perfect.
Oh, this is real scary for Jinnu. Hasn't descalded him just yet, goes into the ultimatum, tries to dodge away, lies into his passive, jump away from, fantastic ult coming in from Amy. Diffuses the entire situation.
And this is why I said he has to play it perfect. Was that the charge?
I heard it.
No, I think he was just remounting.
Oh. I see. The wall definitely came up though, but for now is a full disengage. I thought Jinnu was a dead man. Well played to Amy. Also been stepping up this game.
Yeah, and LGD, again, the mentality is that they want to spread out, they can play the map, they have a lot more win conditions and versatility about how they execute and clean out this game. The Dragon spawning in 23 seconds, there is access to the Baron, but so far it feels like everyone's pretty calm and collected and willing to play this one out slow. We talked about kind of that tension, that importance that is building up for this game. No one wants to risk the biscuit on just a random mid-game skirmish.
I mean, at the same time, you have compositions where, you don't want to wait forever, but it's okay if you wait just a little bit longer to find that perfect engage, perfect skirmish, and make sure the fight starts off well for you. We'll see on the opposite side with talking about items. There's actually a bunch of Zhonya's that have been now completed, so at least for the squishy targets on the side of TOP, it's a little easier for them to stay alive from the onslaught that is literally just a hail of blades, not the mastery, but Jinnu and Yuki, who are just always on those front lines and back lines.
I actually think we have to change up our language. I don't want perfect engage and perfect fight. I just want good enough. Just get her done. You know what I mean? Like, slap some duct tape over it, get some W40 in there, and let's call it a day, pack it up. And for me, good enough is just being right place, right time. As long as you're in the general right area, which it feels like both these teams are recognizing what the other one wants to do. So, yeah, there's some cracks, there's some fissures in terms of the execution, but so far, it's been a much cleaner game than Game 1 and 2, which, if you had asked me if this is how the series would turn out after Game 1, I would have been like, ugh, again, taking a run at that balcony, but...
I see. So it's not like a sniper rifle, it's more like a shotgun with a choke on it.
Yep.
So it's still the shotgun approach, but, you know, in the right area. I like it.
Glass half full.
Glass half full. Recurring themes, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, so good.
So good. See, this is why I'm a Aurelia player. You get to do things like that. It's just so satisfying every single time you do it.
Pretty sure that's my fetish.
Yeah, it's just, dude, it's so fun. Yeah, does burn up your mana though, so. It's also important that you do that mid-fight. If there's any minions nearby, make sure to always go for those minions to keep up your Ionian fervor. That's exactly what Rookie did in Rift Rival's scouting ball. The Rookie in the bluer fight when he was playing Aurelia. That was a bad ultimate.
They're charging.
Right down the mid lane, and Y4's like, haha, you can't change directions. But you did burn my flash, so that feels pretty bad.
And that's the big thing. It means that TOP should try to force this fight.
Jinnu's right here, comes in with the ultimatum, but he is dead. He's going to be trapped up in this one, Cat, but PYL jumps forwards, goes into the hourglass, finds the stun onto 3. Oh, he's instantly going to die, though. Blade Cage doesn't hit anyone, and Yuki turning this one around. It's a skirmish on the front, but TOP being routed. Goong chasing down, or being chased down, goes into his own John, is trying to get his cooldowns back, but he is dead. And that is 4 kills for 2. Advantage, LGD.
And LGD came in with the cavalry there. Yuki, massive on the Aurelia. They find the flank, they find the team fight, and because Amy and everyone is still relatively full health, it looks like they're going to charge towards the Baron. Now, look at your map. XX is running to the rescue. Doesn't have access to the Talia wall, does have his smite, no flash.
Yeah, no wall was the big one, so he's going to have to walk it over, and he's going to be blocked by Whitefall with the ball.
Walk in.
Yeah, this ball is just going to be a pain in the ass to get past. I don't think he can, to be honest. Not going to happen. Yuki, not with his core, it was Y4 in the end, and Junior was also there just in case to assassinate, just in case he stepped up. Now, it started off with the Kled, didn't end with him, but there was a lot of missed things coming out of LGD, yet they still won, so take me through it, Frost.
And good job on Y4, burns the flash, so there goes the charge, and they think they've caught Jinu, but Jinu is able to last long enough and do enough damage, especially with Y4 kind of peeking in on the bottom, that it serves well. Then PYL, big man play, comes in, hits the ultimate, and then the stopwatch, and again, they have stalled out long enough that Yuki was able to walk from the top side of the map all the way over to participate in this fight, and just cleans it up with massive Aurelia deeps.
Yep, turns out if you have no CC and you burn everything, then Aurelia will just kill your entire team, and he's actually just going to do that onto Go. Oh, perfect timing coming out on the Blade Cage right there. He's going to finish him off with a quick Blade Surge. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Jinu going to try and do the same, but there is two targets here right now. Going to hook shot away. There are two angry people on his face, and he will eventually die. Pebbles going to finish him off. Cat thinking about getting involved in that one, but in the mid lane, the triple man stack from LGD going to find the mid lane tower. Add a Yuki into the mix, and this is going to probably be an inhib.
And it's just table scraps, however, for TOP, because like you said, it's probably going to be the inhibitor. The waves are also stacked up on top and bottom if they want to try to take more. In fact, they could maybe go for the game here.
They're thinking about it. Four-man stack in the mid lane. They've got the Baron ready to go. They find a catch down onto Cat. Meanwhile, on the front lies. He gets de-scarred and de-deadified. He is gone. Y4 chasing after, and Cat on to the fountain. LGD find the picks they were looking for, and Amy, he's low, but he is regenerating. PYL just cannot miss a banning, apparently. Gung pushing forward. He's a big Vlad, but is he big enough? Human play goes down. Here's a last chance hurrah for the team, but Yuki, he's onto the Nexus. He knows he can keep hammering away at it, and Amy sees this. He joins in with the duet, and that will be the win. In Hangzhou, they resound because LGD find a second win of the split.
And LGD finally get to take a bow in front of their home arena. 2-6 now. Yeah, it doesn't climb them much on the standings. Yeah, it seems like it's just table scraps themselves, but it is such a sigh of relief for LGD fans because for the first time, you can see hope. There is light at the end of this very dark and very long tunnel.
Unfortunately, we don't know what the light is just yet. Is it the sunshine? Is it a man with a torch? We don't know, but we're going towards it for LGD, and that's all we want to see.
Big smiles
and
from the
sign
crowd.
Is still upside down. Well-deserved bout coming in for LGD in the home arena. Second win, series win I should say, of this split. So haven't had a lot of them, but it's got to feel good.
And you have to then kind of take away the ingredients here. You know, what really works? How do you continue to reinvent LGD and reinvent this type of success? Carries. Give these guys carries.
Yuki, Jinu.
Y4. These guys, they are confident enough. I don't care who your support staff is. Hopefully PYL stops power inting, hit a phenomenal game in game number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Very rough in game number 1 and 2. But these are your win conditions. Look at your 3, brand new players to this roster. Play around them, invest in them. And this guy on your screen, captain, shot caller, longest standing member of LGD, you must be on your best behavior, on your best form, because you don't need to hard carry anymore. Let your team do it for you.
I don't know if it's a mentality thing at this point for PYL, because you get to that game 3 and you're like, actually, wait, we're on match point, we can win this. Maybe that was PYL waking up and being like, all right, let's go, let's do this. Rally behind me, let's finish this game out. Because that was night and day performance out from game 3 versus game 1 and 2. Like, he's a completely different player that I saw.
Yeah, we'll see who gets the MVP. I have a feeling it's going to be Yuki on that Aurelia in the mid lane. But frankly,
so.
MVP performances across from every single member for LGD for that game 3. When they really needed it, when they needed to dig deep, find the momentum, crawl out of that barrel, they were able to do it. So only good thing for LGD and LGD fans.
Yeah, they have all the pieces there. They just need to put it together and do it again, because that was a really good game 3 out from LGD. For now, though, we are going to send it back to the analyst desk to take a look at the game and send us into our final match of the day.
Thank you so much. And LGD with the win in the home arena. They're able to finally take the victory against TOP here. And Clement, I got to come back to the question that was somewhat posed to me. If our last place team in the East beats a 4th place team better in the West, is the East just that much higher up a rung than the West? Now that we're seeing LGD take a win, or do you think this is a one-off for LGD?
I definitely think the Eastern Conference is much, much better, and we could probably send just any playoff team into the West, and they would be top 2.
Okay.
That's actually my guess.
Well, there we go. Even LGD?
I said playoff team. LGD is not a playoff team.
Okay. So let's get into that LGD victory because there's a lot to break down. Yuki, on that Aurelia. I've been saying it for the past few days. This guy, he's starting to find some steam in the mid lane on the Zoe, on the Aurelia. He's able to find that snowball in the mid lane, and then he just goes into team fights, hits massive Vanguard edge on like 3 people, and then just blade surges for days.
And you just see the reason why LGD is such a one-track team in terms of the ban pick. They always do the same thing. They give Yuki the counter pick. And I think TOP did a great job on the blue side to switch up the matchups and decide who they were going to send. But game 3, they slipped up. They gave Yuki a good matchup. Sent the Vladimir in, couldn't contain the Aurelia, and he just pops off. I really agree with what Frostkern was saying about the draft for LGD. You just give them a bunch of champions that have outplay potential, and you let them play through their individual strengths, because this team should not be sitting at the bottom of the East.
Yeah, well, that actually worked out for them in this game. Yuki will actually take our MVP as a result of that. You can see him dancing around those fights time and again with the massive damage that he was able to output. Very successful play for him in order to chase that down. 6, 2, and 10. And most importantly, look at the kill participation on this Aurelia. 94%. That means he missed out on 1.
Yeah, basically picked everything up. He had great team fight plays, especially the last one, where he killed the Rakan incoming with the Defiant Dance to make sure he wasn't CC'd and could continue to go on with the Blade Surge to pick up the Xayah kill as well. So this is LGD. You know, they're looking for they're finding their stride. They got the late game answer now. They've got the Orianna for Y4. They've got the composition answer in the top lane. You know, Jinnu, you just can't play team fights. It's fine. We'll give you a split pusher.
Keep him in a side lane the whole time. Seems like that was the strategy for LGD. That said, it's now time for us to move into our second best of 3 for the day. For those of you who are unaware, we're going to be running that off of delay, so you're not missing any of the action there, as Billy Gaming are heading out to Chongqing to challenge Snake in the Snake Pit. And we've actually got the picks and bans done, because again, that game has started a short while ago, so we've got those picks and bans ready. We'll go ahead and bring those on your screen and take a look at that. Billy seems like they're on blue. What have we got? Sejuani, Mundo, Talon, Xayah, Rakan. Wow, that's just
and we've got a treat
combo
for us. This is what we've got, okay? So we're seeing Mo play Talon most of the games right now. He hasn't found a lot of success, but I really do like the pick. It's so much mobility. It's so much pressure into the side lanes. And what Snake is doing is, thank God, they're moving away from SOFM taking all of the resources. And the biggest benefactor has been in the top lane, and it has been Flandre, because he can now play aggressive top lanes where he has a ganking jungler by his side. So we've seen him move from the Ornn and the Singe over to the Vlad and the Jackson. So far, he's been doing great work on those 2 champions.
And is this Snake returning back to the style that we saw them play just 2 days ago? It's not a marksman for Light in the bottom lane. Instead, it looks like he's taking that Swain down there with Galio presumably going mid. Is this strategy still going to work for them? Because when they played 2 days ago and took their 2-0, it was off of double marksman.
It's not necessarily the marksman that interests me. It's the fact that they're going back to their successful team fight style. We call them the spontaneous team fight team, and just look at how many globals they have there. They have the teleport on Jax, Shen, and Galio to make things happen anywhere on the map. And on the other side, BLG going back to the classics as well, running with an AD carry. They haven't found a lot of success on the mages, only wins onto the marksmen, so they're sticking to that with the Xayah and Rakan. And this is just as classic as it gets between these 2 teams. No gimmicks. I love it.